diamonds are forever. They are all I need to please me. They can stimulate and tease me.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another sparkling episode of The Diamond Consumer, where we dive deep into the world of diamonds, vintage jewelry, and everything that shines. I'm your host, Ms. Diamonds, and today we are going on an exciting journey through history to explore some of the most iconic jewelry eras that every jewelry lover should know about. From the elegance of Georgian designs to the geometric brilliance of Art Deco, vintage and antique jewelry tells stories of times gone by, and they remain timeless in today's fashion world. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to dip your toes into the world of vintage jewels, this episode is packed with history, style, and fascinating insights. So, grab a glass of champagne, sit back, and let's dive in. Let's begin with one of the most charming and romantic periods in history, the Georgian era, from 1714 to 1837. This time period is known for its sophistication and the birth of some truly unique jewelry styles. During this era, jewelry was heavily influenced by the reigns of the British monarchs George I through George IV, but it's also marked by the end of the Baroque period and the early stages of the Industrial Revolution. In terms of design, Georgian jewelry was all about intricate, delicate beauty. The pieces were often handmade using methods that were labor-intensive and required a lot of artistry. Diamonds during this time were not as brilliantly cut as we know them today, so they often had a more subdued, softer glow. These diamonds were usually old mine cuts, chunky and less brilliant, but still full of character. What's really interesting about the Georgian period is the use of foil backing, a technique where diamonds and gemstones were set with a reflective backing to enhance their color and shine. The designs often incorporated floral motifs, bow-shaped elements, and even snake patterns, which symbolized eternity and love. Brooches, lockets, and rings were especially popular in this period, often designed for sentimental purposes. One thing to keep in mind when shopping for Georgian jewelry is its rarity. Because many of these pieces were crafted by hand, they're quite difficult to find today, and if you're lucky enough to acquire one, be prepared to pay a pretty penny. These pieces are more than just jewelry, they're history, captured in gold and diamonds. Next up, we have the Victorian era, spanning from 1837 to 1901. This era, named after Queen Victoria of England, was a time of major social and industrial change. The world was changing, and so was the jewelry. During Queen Victoria's long reign, jewelry design went through several phases, each reflecting the personal taste of the Queen and the shifting social landscape. In the early years of the Victorian period, jewelry was romantic and full of sentiment. Think of pieces like engagement rings, featuring diamond solitaire settings, the type of rings we associate with romance today. The color palette was rich, featuring diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. Cameos, mourning jewelry, and lockets were also popular during this time, often used to commemorate loved ones. Many of these pieces were carved from materials like jet, a type of lignite coal that was polished to create a smooth, lustrous surface. As the Victorian era progressed into the mid-1800s, jewelry became more opulent and elaborate. Think of intricate metalwork and heavy, ornate designs, necklaces with massive chains, cuffs, and brooches laden with gemstones. But the late Victorian era brought about a shift toward lighter, more delicate jewelry with the rise of Art Nouveau styles, which we'll talk about in just a moment. One of the biggest trends in Victorian jewelry was the use of symbolism. Victorian jewelry often conveyed messages about love, death, and immortality through intricate designs. Pieces featuring hearts, roses, and even skulls were common. It was jewelry as storytelling. Each piece had its own meaning, making it even more personal and intimate. The Edwardian era, which lasted from 1901 to 1914, was named after King Edward VII of England. This was a period of elegance and refinement, and jewelry from this time exudes a sense of grace and delicacy. Edwardian jewelry is particularly famous for its use of platinum, which was newly discovered and became a favorite among jewelers for its strength and ability to hold diamonds securely in place. What sets Edwardian jewelry apart is the intricate and lace-like designs. You'll see a lot of filigree work, delicate metal threads twisted into intricate patterns that look almost like lace. This era saw the rise of diamond-set brooches, pendants, and watches with the perfect balance of shimmer and lightness. The diamonds of the Edwardian period were often cut into brilliant cuts, far more advanced than the previous eras, and designed to capture as much light as possible. Pieces from this time often have a soft, refined elegance that feels both modern and vintage at the same time. Moving into the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Art Nouveau period, 1880 to 1914, introduced a revolution in design. This was an era of art, creativity, and freedom. Art Nouveau jewelry, as the name suggests, was all about new forms, often inspired by nature. Floral motifs, flowing curves, and asymmetrical designs were the hallmark of this movement. What's particularly interesting about Art Nouveau is how it married art and jewelry, creating pieces that were true works of art. Artists like René Lalique and Alphonse Mucha were instrumental in shaping the style, using enamel, glass, and precious stones to create surreal, dreamlike pieces. Think dragonflies, butterflies, flowers, and snakes, symbols of beauty, transformation, and mystery. Art Nouveau jewelry is delicate and often whimsical, with a very organic, flowing feel. If you find a piece of Art Nouveau jewelry, it's often a rare treasure, as the period was short-lived and many of the pieces were melted down during World War I. Now, let's fast forward to the Art Deco era, which spanned from the 1920s to the 1940s. This is one of the most popular and distinctive periods in jewelry design, characterized by bold lines, geometric patterns, and a sense of luxury. Art Deco was all about modernity and elegance, reflecting the optimism of the Roaring Twenties. Jewelry from this era is sleek, with diamonds often cut into sharp, angular shapes, like emerald cuts, baguettes, and marquise. The use of platinum and white gold became very popular, and there was also a rise in the use of color gemstones, such as sapphire, emeralds, and rubies, often set in intricate, symmetrical patterns. The Art Deco style embraces a strong, streamlined aesthetic, but it's also a celebration of luxury. From flapper-inspired jewelry to bold cocktail rings, this is the era where statement pieces really came into play. Last, but certainly not least, the Retro era, 1935 to 1950, brought us a style that was big, bold, and often playful. Influenced by the glamour of Hollywood, this period saw the rise of oversized cocktail rings, chunky chains, and the use of rose gold, which became a signature of the time. Retro jewelry often features swirling designs, arches, and curves, reflecting a sense of movement and fluidity. Unlike the sleek geometric Art Deco pieces, retro jewelry embraces a more feminine and dramatic style, with large gemstones and lots of color. Now, let's take a quick jump into the mid-century modern and more recent jewelry styles, the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s. These decades saw dramatic changes in both social culture and jewelry trends. The 1960s was all about boldness and individuality. The decade saw a rise in pop art and the space age, with designers incorporating modern materials like plastics and resins, as well as geometric shapes and bright, colorful stones. Think psychedelic patterns, funky earrings, and the playful, bold designs that match the era's free spirit. This was also when the iconic mod style, characterized by clean lines, polka dots, and geometric motifs, really took off in the jewelry world. The 1970s embraced a more earthy vibe. Boho chic was all the rage, and jewelry reflected that with large, chunky designs, natural stones, and ethnic-inspired pieces. Turquoise, coral, and amber were all favorites during this time. It was an era of free love, peace, and statement jewelry. Think long beaded necklaces, large cuff bracelets, and statement earrings. There was also a resurgence of Art Nouveau influences with a more relaxed, natural feel. By the 1980s, jewelry was bigger and more bold than ever before. The decade was known for excessive glamour, and jewelry followed suit with oversized gold chains, chunky watches, and high-polished gold. Diamonds were a must-have, often seen in large cocktail rings and tennis bracelets. The 80s was all about luxury and power, with jewelry pieces designed to make a statement. And there you have it, 6 incredible jewelry eras, plus a little extra sparkle from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. From the soft elegance of the Georgian period to the bold glamour of the 80s. Each era brings something unique to the table. Whether you're collecting or just admiring from afar, understanding these iconic styles can help you appreciate the artistry and history behind every piece. As always, thank you so much for joining me today on The Diamond Consumer. If you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a sparkling review, and share this with your fellow jewelry enthusiasts. Until next time, stay brilliant and keep shining.